Freedom is the right to tell what they do not want to hear. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Tired of the same repetitive government narratives? Then wave goodbye to the distractions and rhetoric of corporate media. For this is Anti-Media Radio.
But I want to get the language right. The government is in trouble.
You're all a bunch of slaves! Bunch of slaves!
What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another.
What's your definition of media?
And now, here's your host, S.M. Gibson.
My name is S.M. Gibson, and this is Anti-Media Radio. It is April the 14th, 2016. What do you want? What do you expect from your presidential candidate? What do you think this person's going to do for you? What do you want them to do for you? What do they represent to you? Think about that these people are running for a position and saying that they are going to order drone strikes and order troops into countries that have never attacked the United States. They openly say this. What has happened ever in your life where you said, you know what? I need to go bomb somebody. Think about in your day-to-day interactions. Forget what you see on TV. Forget the politicians. Forget all that hype. What in your everyday life have you ever just said, yep, I'm going to go drop some bombs? That's going to solve this. That's what our government does. This is just, something that we see on TV, and that's just the way it goes. Those people are dangerous. We got to go drop some bombs. Those are real people with real lives, real children. They're in school. They go outside and play. There are mothers that are stressing over the meal to make. We drop bombs. That's the solution. Which of these people have invaded this country? And don't give me, there was this one attack at this place. Dropping bombs on countries, really? Why do you think, first off, anybody would be mad at us to begin with? Can't figure that one out. So please think about the consequences of the things you say you support. Well, I think we should maybe bomb this country, but maybe not bomb this country. Think about what that really means. This isn't a TV show. This is real life for real people. And they really suffer based on people going, it's for our safety. You heard about what scary thing could happen to us, didn't you? Stop living in fear. Stop living in fear. Because of that, people die. I want to go ahead and bring in our wonderful sound producer. What are we going with now? Sound
You
director?
said sounder. You've been calling me sound director. It's the
Sound
first
director?
time I've
What
ever
title
heard that
is it?
term, and I absolutely love it.
Sound director?
Sounds
Yes.
better than sound guy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I
It's
guess.
okay,
so.
we're going with sound director. Sound director Shannon Madden. Shannon, what's going on?
Oh, living the dream all day, every day, Mr. Gibson.
Sounds good. And Kevin Knight. Kevin, what's up?
What's up, buddy?
Our
Good
two
to be
in
back.
studio geniuses here.
Thursday night SmackDown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about it? I've got these idiotic. Ugh.
Did you see Daddy earlier on TV in his tux?
Yeah, for a second. I watched it for a second.
He looks stunning. He looked beautiful.
Oh.
You see his beautiful tux? Yeah, that really happened.
That man was really running for president and got up in front of a room of people and just talked about how he built the building they were standing in.
Back in the 70s, he single-handedly
Yeah.
brought the economy
Yeah.
of New York back together.
Yeah. It was done.
That was the implication.
It was over.
That was definitely the
It was
implication.
over, and thanks to him, even though they said that's a stupid idea, Donald, don't go to Manhattan. That'll never work. And sure enough, luck would have it. His investments paid off, and now he acts like he single-handedly, revitalized New York. Not only New York City, but those people wouldn't be in that building they were literally standing in if not for him.
How do you think New York's going to, or which way New York's going to swing on the Democratic side betwing Bernie and Hillary, who have just like absolute
it's gonna go to Hillary. Now, does that mean she'll actually be the winner in real life? That's a good question. I don't know. I think he would beat her in New York. I think Bernie would beat her. Yeah, Bernie in the real world beats her. Now, once they start, these votes went missing, or I don't know how that happened, that kind of thing, then we'll see.
That's a crappy thing about politics is because you can't, how you like when you play for the national championship game for college football and people will like put in like the video game and put those teams in and play the video game with those teams in and whichever, you've seen that before. Why can't we do that with politics? Like play a video game and see if in this scenario if Bernie would win or in this scenario if Hillary would win.
I think
or
it'd
so
be
on and so
great
forth.
to just let them all have like a month, like a reality show.
Yeah.
And like let them do it on and it's fake.
Daddy's going to have a reality show about his
Yeah, I
presidential
think we give
candidacy.
them a reality show because to us, like I was saying at the beginning of the show, to us it's just a thing on TV.
Yeah.
So let's give them a show.
I think this year's debates more than ever have been geared more towards the television audience.
Oh yeah, that's
I mean,
good
it
because
really
I
is.
think that's
It's like American Idol up there.
well, that's because of Donald Trump. I think he is exclusively the reason for that because he is such a marketer. I mean, you think about what he was sitting up.
Oh,
there.
is that what that tux was all about tonight?
You think about what he was bragging about, and he's like, "Oh, I made this money because of this building and this building and this building." You know how many people have made money in the real estate market?
But
And
they
you-
owe it all to Donald Trump.
But you've never heard their name. You've never heard their name, but you know this guy's name, and you've known this guy's name for 30 years.
Yeah. And the vast amount of his fortune currently is not in his property itself. It's the brand name, the Trump brand name.
Yeah, he's a brand for certain. Like
Yeah.
he's certainly branded.
When we hear that number
brilliantly.
tossed, what is it like? What does he keep saying he's worth? Like 10 billion or something like that. There's a good portion of that that's actually speculative wealth. That what the I guess current market
I don't know
value.
I don't know what he's
current
really
market
worth.
value of what the Trump name is worth, which his stock has risen, like it or not.
Well, and that came out actually. This is maybe where you're referring to. I know he's actually spoke about this. Donald Trump never wanted to remind us how financially wealthy he is. Actually had to come out in court records that when asked and pressed about how they determine his accounting practices to use to determine how much Trump was worth, he literally, the answer was, it was based on how he felt that day. I kid you not. Now, that sounds laughable, but he actually literally
It is
said
laughable.
that based on how he felt that day, and that's probably a short answer to the whole situation where he's got. I'm sure you can imagine all the things that he has that fluctuate. He probably does not know. It's probably almost impossible to by the minute to determine how much he's worth. So. Anyways, interesting that's where he keeps giving that up.
What's
from.
his tax numbers? I wonder. With tomorrow being April 15th.
Yeah, because the
favorite day.
IRS doesn't tax you on what you think you're worth.
Right, of course. Well, of course, we're not going to see that.
Shyster.
Of course, then again, he's in that tax bracket that pays a lot less than percentage-wise, a lot less than most.
So yeah, I wonder what he pays.
Well,
I'm sure it's all. It would have. There's so many loopholes. There's no telling.
He's the master of it.
Surely he is the master of it, but at the same time, I bet you it is on the up and
I don't think he's necessarily the master of it. I just think he's got the right people in place.
Look,
well, that's what I mean.
He knows.
That's part of it, though.
That guy's smart.
I don't see Donald Trump sitting down filling out his 1040 easy.
He tweeted out
by himself
2 or 3 years ago, wherever it was, "Make America Great Again." Something about hitting at what's happening now. Long time ago, he knew he was going to do this. So he knew that his tax records were going to be viewed by the entire world. His taxes, I bet you, have been on the up and up for a long time.
Oh, surely. Well, we're not going to see that right now
because he knew people were going to go through them.
Well, he refuses to give them up too. Of course they do. They did that with Romney, and they use it to point out, of course, that he's obviously rich and pays so little in taxes. But he's claiming that
he knew he was running for president, though. I bet you it'd be worth his money.
Oh, well, I'm talking about now, though. He refuses to even release his tax record.
Well, he says he's being audited.
Right. So,
which who knows?
All the ways that wealthy people hide their wealth. And that's again.
Wouldn't you?
Look, yeah, exactly. It's just like the Panama Papers, which is a very big hot topic right now on antimedia.org, theantimedia.org. Check it out. That we've got a couple stories up right now. One is about Oxfam, which has kind of actually broken down the numbers of the Panama Papers as far as U.S. corporations go and what's being hidden. And the number is somewhere at this moment is somewhere around 1.4 trillion with a T, trillion dollars that you have. And there's a lot of corporations.
Goldman Sachs.
Oh, those people again.
Verizon.
Yeah.
Apple. Oh, those guys.
Apple. Oh, Apple keeps popping up a lot.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
I didn't know IBM. They still do.
You ought to buy stock in Coca-Cola. Much as you drink Coke.
I do not. That's
you
not
have
true.
a Coke. You have a Coke problem.
It's incorrect.
You
I
have
don't.
a Coke
Chevron
problem.
I don't. None of that's true. Yeah, I really should stop drinking those things.
And this is off of profits that those companies you just listed. They earned $4 trillion globally between 08 and not 0, but 14. And I mean, again, you have a very small sector that is controlling a large portion of the wealth. And that's why we, meaning us poor folks, us working folks, are so pissed off about it. I'm not player hating. I don't really care that Bill Gates is worth X amount of $1 billion. I don't care that Donald Trump's worth $10 billion. Good on him, man. They figured out ways to exploit the system and pay off these certain people and super PACs here and a special dinner there. And next thing you know, they're worth several billion, and afforded luxuries and true freedoms that none of us would ever, ever, ever dare imagine. Imagine getting in a DUI and you just make a phone call and suddenly it gets, there's just a little misunderstanding. We'll let it go this time. I can't do that.
No.
Oh, no. I go to court. I pay $5,000 to a lawyer or $3,000 for a lawyer, whatever a DUI lawyer costs. I've never gotten one.
Well, it's America, isn't it?
That's America. The affluenza teen. I know that everybody's. That's been a sensationalistic story about the wealthy teenager who had gotten in a car wreck that killed 4 people. And I believe he was under the influence or So wound up skipping the country, and now he's back in the country, and he's going to serve a grand total of what, like 2 years? For
Okay,
murdering
wait.
4 people.
For a flip side of that, we had a friend who has a relative who
His father.
yes,
Yeah.
that happened to. And how long did he go? Did he get life?
Oh, he's still currently serving. He got 4 consecutive life sentences. And the thing
And-
is that he had actually had,
and he was drunk.
he wasn't even legally drunk. That was the problem. But he was already tied up in the system. Had already been pulled over for driving drunk before, and they kind of wagged their finger at him. And he had some drinks the night before. He had an alcohol problem. He had some drinks the night before, got up the next day. It was Christmas Day. And it's a horrible story. I mean, it really is. It's kind of messed with a guy even to this day. And leaves out and was still had a little bit of alcohol in his system from the night before because he blew it out. It was morning time. He wasn't that kind of alcoholic. He'd get up in the morning and kind of shake the hangover off and go about his day. I used to be in the same boat at one point in time when I still drank. So he blew like a .03 when they gave him the breathalyzer. But because he had any alcohol in his system whatsoever, the prosecuting attorney who wound up becoming the governor for Alabama, Don Siegelman, who also wound up going to prison himself. But that's another story for another day. Richard Scrushy.
He was actually my kickboxing partner.
Get
Lived
out
up
of
my
town.
sparring partner.
Man, you
Believe
get
that?
around, dude. You really do.
Hey man, he's a hard man too. Tough guy. Anyway,
Mr. Gibson's met him before. We were actually we were at a music festival
He was
downtown
under.
Birmingham.
He was a broken man.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was.
that's right
He had-
after?
he
Had just nobody knew he was out of jail yet.
Oh, really?
And
He was
I was
flying under the
I
radar,
was
huh?
backstage at a music festival, City Stages.
Al Green, I
that
believe,
used to
yeah.
be in Birmingham. It was, and Al Green was singing.
That's
And I'm walking, and like all of a sudden I see Don Siegelman. I'm like, I thought you were in jail. Like seriously.
Like, how did you
Oh,
get
they
out?
stopped and
Yeah.
talked for a minute. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he went on this whole story about how he knew my dad. which
Oh,
he-
so you actually did you stop him or did he stop you?
Oh, he gave me this whole spiel about how he was set up.
Oh,
he
yeah,
was a
well,
broken
yeah.
man. Like he was talking to anybody that would listen. This guy was like, they were saying he was the next Bill Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was, the governor of state. He was, very up and coming in the Democratic Party. They were talking about him on a national level. And I'm sitting here talking to this man backstage at a music concert who had just gotten out of prison that week, talking to me about how
he was
he was
screwed.
set up and how it was about Scrushy, who that's a whole different story for a different day. But
He's back in now, by the
a
way.
multi-millionaire that ended up going to prison. They tried to get him multiple times for prison.
Yeah, he's
But
back
they got
in,
him
and
finally.
apparently he's been like in solitary confinement. Apparently he did an
And I'm
interview
going
or
to tell
something
you
like that.
something.
Good, he should have.
And I'm going to tell you something about Siegelman. What he went to Siegelman should have gone to prison for multiple reasons. Okay,
What he went to prison for, he shouldn't have, because every governor has done it before him, and every governor's do it since.
right,
Yeah,
right. That's it.
give their buddy a spot.
There's a
on the
lot. It's
panel.
kind of like OJ. It's like, really, he went to jail for stealing some stuff. It's like, he killed 2 people, right?
Yeah. Ooh,
He got a long time for that too, didn't he? I mean, the stealing thing.
Oh
he's
yeah,
got
they put him away.
They put him away, dude.
But yeah, that's kind of what Siegelman was. It's like there's stuff to get him on, but it's not this.
That's what he pitched. We'd sit there and hang out in the morning times waiting for class to start. I set him in the under a tree outside the place on a park bench, and man, I was young too, and so he'd tell me all this stuff about how he was being basically the same thing you said. He was being screwed over. It was Karl Rove and Donald Rumsfeld. They were all after him. Of course, I wasn't into politics at this time, so I'm completely oblivious to really anything he's talking about. But I wanted to believe him. Seemed like a nice guy, So of course, I felt
He's
sympathetic
full of
for
it
him.
because
I'm sure.
He told me this whole story about how he knew my dad. My dad was in his union, local steelworkers, and my dad had met Siegelman twice, I think, and brief, like not even like sit down meeting, nothing like that. Just like you're in a room of people and you literally shake their hand. I think that happened twice.
yeah. He knew your dad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like he
Facebook
knew him.
Yo,
You would,
they were
you would
boys.
believe it.
Yeah,
And this was not my dad. Like, oh, I know. No, this was Siegelman acting like he knew. My dad's like, that man don't know me.
It's like we're blood brothers.
He goes,
bro.
I don't know that man.
Politicking. I love it.
Oh yeah, but he's like, you tell your mom, hey. I mean, like he knew him. Like it was dead
Creepy.
straight. Yeah, it was creepy. And my dad's just like, nope, none of that's
Don't
true.
know him.
Yep, none of that's true.
We got off on the bunny trail for a moment.
Yeah, but we're talking about the deciphering of politicians and their ways and their
Smooth operating scoundrel.
yeah.
Well, let's talk about the people that pay him here for a second, because from 2008 to 2014, getting back to the Panama Papers and the what Oxfam has exposed. From 2008 to 2014, the 50 largest U.S. companies collectively received $27 in federal loans, loan guarantees, and bailouts for every $1 they paid in federal taxes. These 50 companies spent during that period of time approximately $2.6 billion on lobbying while receiving, check this out, y'all, nearly $11.2 trillion with a T in federal loans, loan guarantees, and bailouts.
I mean,
Should we be surprised?
Man, that's a hell of a return on your investment. $2.6 billion, and that equals $11.2 trillion in federal assistance, federal loans, loan guarantees, and bailouts.
so that means for every. So let me see if I get this right. Okay, hold on. That means for every dollar I give you, you're going to give me $27. Is that correct? Is that how this works?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Is that what we're talking about here? I give you $1.
Yeah.
You give me $27.
I'm in right now.
I'm
Got
gonna
a
go-
5-year CD.
I'm going to
too.
go ahead and say this right now, and if anybody disagrees, that's fine. Go ahead and disagree. The people talk about these horrible, evil companies and this, that, and the other. You know what? Who's not going to sign up for the I get $27 if I give you $1
Oh, right.
bill? Who's not signing up for
Yeah.
that?
But if you get screwed,
The problem here is the U.S. government for allowing any of this to take place and to happen. But they're
$2.6 billion
all
on
in
lobbying.
bed together. Together. You said it. On what? And what do lobbyists do?
$2.6 billion were spent by those 50 companies,
That's, yeah.
several of which we just listed.
And you know what? That's a lot of money to spend, but guess what? It's
But
worth
they received
every penny.
$11.2 trillion with a T dollars in federal loans, loan guarantees, and bailouts.
2.6 billion is a drop in the bucket compared to 11.2.
That's a drop. Well, and look, everybody wants to point at welfare programs and Medicaid and VA assistance and so on and so forth, and all these other programs drop in the bucket. The total of those combined is a drop in the bucket to $11.2 trillion. Come on, man. You want to talk about the welfare state? Let's talk about the corporate state, man, because that's where
That is the welfare state.
that's where all the welfare is going.
Of course it is, but nobody realizes that. They sit there. Okay.
Yeah, that people want to sit at their
And what's
house
so
and collect a check and not do nothing.
Here's
Well, what
what's
about
so
the people
funny.
that are sitting in glass offices?
That's the thing.
Picking up a phone, picking up a phone and making $2 million a week. I mean, you know.
Here's the thing that's I think is so
For a
hilarious.
month.
Okay, you have these banks, these
My
huge,
math was bad.
these huge buildings over here in towns. Okay, I'm looking out this window and I'm looking at these huge towering buildings, and they're all banks, big shop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what you know. When you see a downtown skyline, 9% of the time, there's a bank.
Yeah.
Birmingham, they're all banks.
Yep.
So,
I've been in the top of the biggest one in Birmingham, and they had one of the nicest executive kitchens on the top floor. Oh, my God. The food is incredible.
anyway,
I got to eat some scraps on the way out the back door.
you digress, sir. People drive through towns, and they see the projects that are falling apart, and they see those high-rise buildings, and they go, I can't believe the government helped build those shack buildings and those people live in them. Meanwhile, where do they think the money's coming from over here to build these giant glass, beautiful structures?
Beautiful.
Beautiful to look at.
Like Trump's hands.
Not as that. No.
Large hands.
Well, not as beautiful as those hands,
Not
of course.
as beautiful as Daddy's hands, but sounds like a Jewel song.
Daddy.
Preach it, man. Remind them.
Remember the old country song? Yeah. It's not
Dolly
that
Parton. I
old.
heard that song the other day. Wasn't Dolly Parton, was it?
No, that was
No.
somebody, one of these newer.
No, yeah.
Newer,
I had to pull
old
that
song.
one up in a minute.
But yeah, you're right. Where does it come from? Who's paying for this?
Right. And, you know, they're like our tax dollars, and everybody's like, I can't believe these people. And they're giving them this money to eat. Look at these buildings they're living in. They're falling apart. They're just running around killing each other in there. I'm not going in there. That's how they view it. When you're out in the suburbs, that's how it's viewed. People can like it. They cannot like it. I've lived in the city. I've lived in the suburbs. I've seen it both ways.
And unfortunately, state-owned is not gonna.
Oh, yeah.
It's not ever gonna work out to the benefit.
But yeah, you see these glass structures, nobody says a word. Nobody says anything. And yet, it's the shanties. How dare us? How dare us spend that tax dollars? We don't talk about the $11.2 trillion.
Well, apparently they need more money because apparently jet fuel can melt those buildings into nothing.
Yeah,
So,
that really actually happened.
Yeah.
And nobody, yeah.
Thermite.
It was a thing on TV.
Thermite.
You know, we kind of mentioned this last show about the argument when people complain about the welfare state, which, you know, I'm sure a lot of us anyways, are against the so-called welfare state. But it should be pointed out that
Right.
Yeah.
The real welfare in this country
Yeah.
is the corporations.
the amount of people that are bumming off the system, the lower income people that a lot of us point there, and I'll be honest with you, I fell into the same trap for years. I was completely shocked when I realized that the welfare system, as big as and as much fraud as it is, it doesn't really compare to the other money that's being fraudulently spent.
Oh, yeah. If that was the biggest problem we had, we'd be golden.
Right. Well, we looked at it last week. I forget how much was spent on the military budget, and that's not
Oh, yeah. It was like 54% of the budget, I
right.
believe.
Right. Not that we're saying take
And
armor
the
off of-
second was 6% or
Yeah.
something like that.
But yeah, of course, it sounds bad to say cut from the military, but we're not talking about taking weapons out of the arms of men. We're talking about not spending the monies on what multi-million-dollar embassies in Iraq that we tore down that are bigger and nicer than any embassy in any other country for all intents and purposes.
Well,
That's the waste that we're talking about when we say cut military waste.
it's
Or a military waste like perhaps maybe arming and training a bunch of rebels in a region that's suddenly
you know,
come back
being-
to use
Which
those
they're about
weapons
to do-
against
which
us
we're about to do
again.
again.
that brings me to another story that's kind of in the news right now. Is this video that's going around of these Russian jets flying over the U.S.
Which is in the Baltic Sea, which I believe borders Russia.
It's in
doesn't it?
international water.
Yeah, the Baltic Sea does border
Right,
Russia. I
yeah,
believe,
this
on the
wasn't
eastern
in
side.
Florida where this happened, right? If I just make sure
I
I
think
get
it was
this
in the
right.
Gulf of Mexico.
Well, it
yeah.
really, you know,
Where did this happen?
you
at?
say this, but it no, you're about right. It's over in that general area, but Russia has flown up and down the coast of the U.S. through an agreement, basically with the U.S. government that and they've actually landed
to
a couple
patrol
of times.
for ISIS, I'm sure.
But
No,
when
no.
did they do this?
Well, they've actually done. Excuse me. I put it this way. I know that for a long time, Russia has been flying up and
Right,
up,
right.
and but they've stopped and they've had repairs done. But the what you're talking about is a recent incident about the multiple flying back. And not to get off subject, but that brings up another interesting topic: the Open Skies Agreement, which gives. I'm sure you guys know about this, but it gives Russia and the U.S. They fly their spy satellites over each other's countries. So don't think from sure that this is not something that goes on between both sides. But I digress.
Oh, it does. I mean, I think that's the thing people miss with all of this. No matter what you're talking about, I think whether it's the propaganda, whether it's the violating borders and airspace and open waters and all this deal, you know, they all do it. Everybody, all sides. I don't think, you know, it's not like, unfortunately, it's not like the cowboy movies growing up, you know, there's a good guy and a bad guy, which, you know, you grow up and find out that's a pretty messed up too. It's like you come over to somebody's country and kill them all, and now there's a bad guy in the movie. I don't care. I still like those movies. Still watch them. Man, does it make me an evil person? I don't know. Kevin, am I a bad person for that? I still like cowboy and Indian movies.
No, man.
Does it? It doesn't.
You like what you like, man. If we all had to say exactly what we like, there's no telling really what what we'd be. And
I don't care. It's still messed up, though.
The Cowboys and Indians?
Yes. Well, the whole theory of it, like when you get older and you're just like, wait, what are they doing? Why are they killing those people?
Well, I mean, you're not necessarily.
Why are they the bad guys?
You're not rooting for the cowboy, are you? I mean, it's not like you're rooting for
I don't know. Yeah,
with a machete in your hand, you know, reenacting each scene. But
yeah, I do. I always do.
Yeah. Then yes, I'll backtrack on everything I said. You are a flaming racist.
Yeah,
horrible person.
Flaming.
You Trump supporter, you.
Yeah, vote daddy.
Oh, wait a minute. Trump supporters aren't racist.
Are they not? Did you hear the stat that I think is amazing? 91% of black Americans do not like Donald Trump.
Really?
Openly.
I can't believe that.
Surprise.
Donald's had such a great relationship with the
That is a
African
wonderful
Americans
statistic.
his whole entire career.
That is a wonderful statistic.
Yeah.
And who did I hear? I can't remember where I heard it from, but they were talking.
How's the Hispanic vote holding up with Trump?
He claims he's got that in the bag, actually. What was
the
it?
Hispanic vote?
In Nevada. Remember, he actually cited that. There was a big poll, and he was out there speaking.
Compared to he won the Hispanic vote in the Republican race. Now, in reality, no, he did not even close.
Yeah.
But in the Republicans, he did. He won the most, which I still think is amazing. I can't, you know, I think that's amazing but you know.
Well, my wife, who's Latino, is Latina. Obviously, hates. I say obviously, she hates, and to the point. Well, I won't say much more about this, but she is not a Donald Trump fan whatsoever, and we get into it. And
Why not? Why is all this hate for Donald Trump, man?
Hey, I'll be honest with you, man.
All you brown people better smarten up, man.
Oh my gosh! Fired!
I don't want to take up for Donald Trump.
Take your joke somewhere else.
And this is what I'm
not
accused
a joke,
of.
I'm afraid.
He's serious, I believe.
Yeah.
Are you dead? Are you dead serious?
Unfortunately. No, what he's saying is, I know what he's saying, and he's talking about the people out there in the world. That's how people believe, and that's it.
Particularly your Donald Trump supporters.
Yeah.
Because, again, and I've said this on the show before, you know, I work in construction during the day. And, yeah, I get saddled up by some good old boy that kind of looks both ways and says, who you voting for? Man, I like that old Trump, man. That Trump, he's saying what people really want to hear.
Let me
goes
tell you
into the
something.
whole spill about it. Is very careful not to go too far over the line, and then if he feels like I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. Kind of looks both ways, and leans on in, and that's when I kind of have to stop it right there. It's like, look, I don't participate in any of that, and I certainly don't participate in that.
I know I've told this story before. I'll give it a real quick, brief version of it. But I grew up inside Birmingham, which is not what people think of when they think Alabama. My best friend since I've been, 6, 7 years old. I mean, closest thing I've ever had to a brother. My wife is black. You know, we never saw this, and we grew up and we're like, what's this Alabama race talking about? You know, we got this stereotype of this country. You know, rednecks, hicks, all this stuff. We're just like, we don't get it. This isn't what it's like. We got old enough. We left. We got outside. He ended up going off somewhere, and I went down to Livingston, which is about 15 miles from the Mississippi border, in the middle of nowhere.
Deep south.
Okay, and lived there for about a year. And
cultural enrichment.
Oh, my goodness. Yep, the stereotypes are alive and well in Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you. It's all real.
And Mississippi and upstate New York and California. Racism still exists in America, believe it or not.
It does. It absolutely
From
does.
all sides.
And you come back, you come back from seeing it and you start seeing it in other places too. But it was like before then, it was just like, I don't get this. And then you go and it's like, oh,
well,
man,
we're
this
stirring,
is happening.
We're stirring up the racism right now by talking about it. So, of course, that's what your typical, unfortunately,
Who
Donald
says
Trump,
that? Which side says
Donald
that?
Trump supporters will say, "Oh man, you don't need to even be talking about that stuff, man. That stuff's dead. That was in the '60s. We ended racism totally once and for all."
Yeah. Of course,
Yeah.
sure they did.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Now let me tell you a funny joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look, you're getting children that get shot. Sorry. And nobody cares.
Yeah.
And it happens with both skin colors. I'll be the first person to tell you right now it does. And it don't need to happen regardless of your skin color. But it does happen predominantly more.
Yep.
If your color,
And a much
of
more
your skin
disproportionate
is
rate.
that's it.
And probably in areas that are gun-free states or that have very much gun restrictions.
Oh, yeah. That's the deal with Tamir Rice. Guess what? If that 12-year-old child was holding a gun, as they so claim, he still wasn't breaking the law. So, yeah. Even if you go by the cop's version of events on that one, he was doing nothing to get shot, and nothing happened to go. So, hooray.
We have a friend of ours that did an open carry demonstration here in town in one of the impoverished neighborhoods, suburb, part of Birmingham, in the ghetto.
In this instance, a mostly African American, a black neighborhood.
Yes, and he was African American himself. And went in fully strapped in compliance with the law, was still arrested, had all of his weapons and everything taken away from him, was put in jail, was actually given psychiatric evaluation, and still to this date still have not charged him with anything. So, yeah, because they can't.
They mess with him.
But they kept his guns.
Did they really? And he didn't get them back?
He's working on that right now. And I think one of them was an AK-47, so I don't know how successful he's going to be.
Isn't that something, too? And you're forced, and he was obviously doing nothing wrong whatsoever.
Nothing wrong. It was just a simple open carry demonstration.
And not only has he not been charged yet, but now he has to go spend hard-earned money to probably have to get a lawyer to get involved, possibly lose time off from work or even be pulled away from whatever family obligations he has, all to get his, what we're understanding is probably legally on. He was obviously carrying them and may have anticipated some confrontation with police officers, so I would imagine that the weapons were legal. But so carrying a legal, in this instance, a legal firearm, breaking not one law, doing so, and now being forced to spend money, time, and energy to go and try to get his weapons back from him.
Yeah. Well,
Alabama, roll tide, baby.
Yeah. City of Birmingham. City of Birmingham. Yeah, that happened in city limits.
And
freedom.
Well, not too far, we saw the other immigrant grandfather. That got thrown down
in Huntsville.
Madison County.
And he got wrecked totally, and he was basically let off the hook too, to my understanding. After
the cop that did that.
Yeah. Federal charges have been filed, but he's skated all of the charges in Madison.
And at
County.
first, they made it sound like something was going to happen to him. Didn't they?
Right. Well, and everybody expected to. I mean, how can, of all the videos we watch of police encounters, this one seemed to be obviously nothing to argue whatsoever. And it all ended up coming down with the argument that the police officer felt that he was being pushed or that he was being shoved.
Oh, yeah, give me a break.
Excuse me, the guy resisted when he supposedly pulled his arm away.
Yeah, go check the video out.
It is such a disgusting
I don't even care.
video. It's such a disgusting video, though.
It is. It really is.
And that's not to demonize all cops, but it goes on to show you that all areas, this problem's not tied specifically to a black or to a white neighborhood.
Here is what I do not understand. This is always just, I've never been able to get this out of my head. I never will. It doesn't make sense to me. Why do not cops rise up when one of these shootings goes down, and instead of going, my brother, he could have gotten, go, that dude just killed a 12-year-old child. Something needs to happen to him, because I don't want people to think I'm going to kill a 12-year-old child, because I wouldn't, because that's horrible. if I was a cop, that's what I would do. I would be like, no, we're not going to defend this guy because even if it was a mistake, if he was scared, it wasn't like he just went over and, executed a kid. I get it. It was still, he killed a 12-year-old kid. Sorry, there must be some consequences.
Just like the mafia, another very popular gang, the police have their own code of silence.
That's it.
And that's pretty
And when
much
you
what
get the good officers that do come out and do the right thing.
They're demonized.
I was talking about this with somebody today.
Well, that answers your question.
Death
That we do have them.
It's awful.
Go ahead.
But I was talking about that exact same thing with somebody earlier today about, when you get a police officer that stands up and does the right thing, comes out and tries to tell the truth, they're the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They're
ostracized.
Yeah,
they're booted
it's like,
out.
wait, what? Aren't they the ones doing what you're supposed to be doing?
Right.
And you're the ones not doing the right thing? And how does this work again? I just don't understand why more police officers don't, raise their hand up and say no.
It's funny you mentioned that because right before I left home to come up here, I was reading a story. I think it was PNAC, Photography is Not a Crime. It shared a story about a Hawaiian officer, a lady who had actually been arrested 6 times in 1 year, 6 times this past year, and was still on the force. Can you believe that?
That's fantastic.
Is that not something? I mean, I would think, I understand that, favors and stuff go on behind closed doors and officers have a lot of stuff to deal with, but you'd figure at some point, at what point would that not be in the benefit of the law enforcement, the agency, not to, hey, this person does not represent us, she doesn't belong to us, but no, they kept this person on, which, to me, kind of a nod back to what you were talking about, diminishes their credibility and their trust that the public is supposed to have in these people.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the biggest issue with it is the justice system itself. I think that most people understand that we live in a world that's not perfect, and we live in a world where accidents are going to take place when you got people walking around with guns, you got people that are scared, adrenaline. I get it. It could happen. But the issue then is, but he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, he did. He did do something wrong. Just because you can explain why he did it, that's not going to bring that kid back to life. Just because it's explainable isn't going to console that mother. So people need to be held responsible for their actions. Period.
Everybody.
That's it.
There should be no exception to that whatsoever because of your status, because of the wealth that you have, because you're a politician, because you're heavily connected, so on and so forth. Everyone needs to be held to the same standard. And that's one of the major problems that we have in this country. Well, economically, socially, I mean, you just go down the whole entire list of all the woes that we have in this country, and a lot of it has to do with ego.
Well,
power.
Well, what have we talked about, so far tonight? We've talked about the Panama Papers. We've talked about, the Oxfam story coming out with the $1 trillion of free cash. And, we've got everything going around the center of London we haven't got to yet, which people, geez Louise, the city of London, that's the biggest scam in the world. They're running the world and paying no money in taxes. Right. Zero money. That's just whatever. Hopefully I'm trying to get a guest on sometime soon that'll be able to go into that a lot better than I could really begin into. I can get into it, but I would love for hopefully get them on soon. Fingers crossed.
I think it was like a week ago we were talking about the Rothschild Bank that's set up here, I believe in Nevada, the state of Nevada. There's pretty much a onshore right here in America tax haven for the super wealthy that is set up by the Rothschilds to help some of their rich friends out. So I mean it's worldwide. I mean, now that we've seen the Panama Papers, it's not just going on there; it's going on everywhere. In some cases, right under our nose in our own country. And
Oh,
it's
it
who
happens
you're connected
everywhere.
to, who you know, and how much power you've been given.
Money rules the world. And when you got it, you got power. And, look, we sit here, we talked about 60 Minutes bringing up 28 pages and all this business. Let's talk about Saudi Arabia for a second, talking money and power. Why do you think they get away with everything they get away with? Do what they want. First off, they're in bed with the United States, and that leads me to another story. It's on the page right down on the antimedia.org is on the front page about their in cahoots with Israel. But yeah, that's when I've been sitting here screaming forever. As I see it as the United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia are all in bed together. But I'll get into all that into the second hour. We'll get into foreign policy.
Oh yeah, we got a good second hour as far as a lot of the comings and goings in the Middle East and how this all ties into what we've been talking about in this first hour.
I can't wait for that, man. That'll be
Power. Oh, this power.
I get worked up when we talk about Saudi Arabia. Ooh.
Man.
We all should be, man. We really
Oh my
all
gosh. Oh yeah. I'll get into that. Man, I made this thumbnail for a story the other day. Saudi Arabian flag, but it was a rainbow flag under it. I was just like, oh my God.
You're going to get in trouble.
You're going to be called out about the state of Saudi Arabia themselves, dude.
Yeah.
That's why on you, boss.
I know, man.
ISIS is going to come for your head.
Oh, I hope not. That'd be rough. That would be a rough day.
That's why it's important to go ahead and vote right now, because that's the only way you're going to get rid of ISIS is to go vote and drink Coke. Well, you already got that covered. You got a Coke problem, man.
I really got it. Man, I used to be like, I would never drink those things. Like, I went 8-9 years without drinking them.
And I come in here, there's like 15 of them on your desk.
I don't know what happened. But yeah,
I can't say too much. I drink diet soda.
I didn't drink
I'm
a Coke
for
for like 9 years. And then just all of a sudden, I don't know.
I know. You got a Coke problem.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I got to stop.
We need to stage an intervention.
Yeah, we do. We got to do something.
I think we need to do an on-air intervention. We'll get Nick and Claire on.
With a march against Monsanto
Manny
poster
Manny
hanging
to call
over me. Hanging over me.
Yeah.
I'm drinking a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Keep it real.
You got so many GMOs in your colon right now.
Oh, jeez. There's no telling.
Before we take the break here in a few minutes, Shannon, you mentioned about the Panama Papers. I want to go back and ask you guys something, the Rothschild Bank that you're talking about, which a friend of mine just sent me a message. Apparently, I need to check my messages. Don't you love how on Facebook you get tons of messages and you can't always read them, but you feel like I do anyways, feel like a jerk because people know I have my phone with me, but I can't necessarily reply at the moment. But my friends are listening. I got you, but they say the bank that you're referring to was in
I don't do the messenger thing. I don't know how that works.
I try not to, but I have it.
See, I don't even know how it works. I've never even been on it.
It's
so I wouldn't know that.
I apologize for thinking you're a jerk every time.
Do you get like an update when you get a message from it? Like, I've really never done that.
Depends on how your phone's
I'll
set
refuse.
up.
I refuse to get
But
that
anyways,
messenger.
your friends had messaged you and said.
Anyways, Reno was the state you're talking about, or the area you're talking about where the bank was set up.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, the Panama Papers, back to, we had mentioned, and one of the big deals about that was the idea that very few American companies had been linked to the Panama Papers that seemed to focus on just the global elite, Putin being one of those particular people. But it sounds, apparently we've got a story out of the Free Thought Project that's shared from, got a couple other sources they've linked here as well, that a single Delaware address is the home to 200,000 shell companies, including 2 of Hillary Clinton's.
Wow.
Isn't that something? 200,000
yeah,
shell
send me a
companies.
link to that. That's awesome. And listeners, if you're listening right now, definitely check this out. We'll share the link here in a moment.
And the Washington
Wow.
Free Beacon actually is one of the ones that kind of broke the story. It's 1209 North Orange Street, according to the Washington Beacon. Interesting, huh? It makes you wonder, and we've seen stories about FBI houses or safe houses, obviously in neighborhoods, you never would imagine what's going on. Can you only imagine the various things going on in some of these houses, even in nicer communities, or something
Well, you
such
just
as
mentioned the name
Birmingham?
Hillary Clinton, so it can't be anything good.
Right.
Right. Kind of on and off topic a little bit. I saw today that actually I had seen this a long time ago and I'd forgotten it. That the hijackers for 9/11 had stayed at the same hotels in Oklahoma City that McVeigh had stayed at.
Wow.
Yeah.
One of the
Repeatedly.
That's
Repeatedly.
Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah. People still ain't happy about that.
McVeigh. Yeah.
one of the hijackers actually was trained out here at in Bessemer Airport.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, as you probably know, several of the supposed hijackers were actually never killed. Right. Of course, we've seen that at the.
Yeah, that's a theory. Yeah.
Well, it's a theory, but I've seen even some of the agencies, apparently some of the embassies
I've seen
of other countries have put out press releases saying that indeed these people that were. Now, and of course, that could be. I've heard arguments that was a mistaken identities. Obviously, these people were supposed to be dead, but the flight registration, yields you would think legitimate information. But that's another show for another day.
I think there's so many lies going on with that. I just have a hard time believing any side
knowing
of
what
it.
to believe.
Right? Yeah. Like you hear a story. Like I think a lot of people. I think when you find somebody that questions a lot of stories, you get people go, "Oh, so what do you believe it?" Like some crazy thing. I think you get a lot of people believing some crazy stuff. Look, I don't know what happened. I don't know who did what. I'm not going to tell you I do.
I know the story that I've heard doesn't make sense.
I know the story I was
start
told
there.
was a huge giant lie because I'm not an idiot. But other than that, I don't know what happened. I'm not going to pretend I do. I wasn't there. But, are these guys alive? Are they dead? Beats me. I'm not going to tell you. Like, you hear that, and I think a lot of people that, get into conspiracy and stuff, they hear that story and go, yeah, maybe they are. Maybe they are. Maybe. I don't know. I hadn't met them. I know that much.
Well, the more you know about all the particulars and the players and the scenario and the fact that we just accidentally just happen to lose so many odd $1 trillion the day before.
Right.
The same.
There was a lot.
Same place.
That.
The same place where all of the records were stored were, coincidentally enough, the same place in the Pentagon that got hit by that plane.
Look, you could go.
And nobody can find pieces for
look.
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'll choke you up if you give it a second thought. It'll really, really, really choke you up.
You could sit there and get into all that and talk about that for 4 shows in a row.
Yeah.
If you want to dive into that, because it's all speculation. It's this one thing happened. This one
Let's not
thing
forget about
happened.
United '93 either. That's an old another.
How
story.
do they link together? And that's where you start piecing your own story together. And I don't know.
Did you ever see that movie? The United '93 movie?
No, I did not.
I refuse to. In fact, after seeing Zero Dark 30, I'm kind of.
I'm
glad
sorry,
I missed it.
I couldn't do it.
Well, even if you watched it, you know that it would be probably not anything close to the real flick, the real scenario. So
Yeah, the real scenario that had all them poor people. That
If you can believe it, I read the 9/11 Commission report. Oh, that was rough. Can't believe I read it. But so yeah, no, I have not seen their movie, and nor do I ever plan on seeing their movie. Nor do I plan on seeing any CIA sponsored. What was the last one that came out? They were saying the CIA did.
probably every one of them. It seems like a lot of films.
Homeland. Oh my God.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh well, you can just watch it and tell that that's a CIA propaganda show. I always say I don't care. I watch it. It's a good show, but it's about that and House Cards and everything I watch on TV. And Mr. Robot's coming back soon.
Oh,
I
can't
haven't
wait for
seen
that.
Mr.
man.
Mr. Robot's great.
Oh, you need to check out The Americans.
I do like
it.
House of
Americans
Cards.
are
Though. I'm a
great.
big House of Cards fan.
Yeah, I like
Turns
House
coming
Kevin
out.
Spacey rocks.
But oh yeah, Homeland's totally propaganda. I know it. I mean, just don't buy into
Well,
what
you're just
they're
watching
saying.
it for adventure. You're watching for
yeah,
entertainment.
it's
That's it.
Neat CIA people on missions.
I'd rather watch cartoons. Some robot chicken.
Well, Ric Flair 2016.
Why isn't he running for president? Woo! I'd vote for him in a heartbeat.
Well, I've tried to make that happen multiple times, Shannon. How many times have I told people that Ric Flair should be the president?
You can't, but you have to. I mean, you have to exert your power and your influence and make that happen. You need to reach out to his people. He's still got people, doesn't he?
Oh,
He's freaking Ric Flair. Of course, he's got people.
Yeah, he should be president.
Your
Why
people
not?
need to get up with his people.
If Trump didn't have the worst policies I've ever heard, I could be on board with some
You're
of that
not with
Ric
that
Flair.
wall. You don't want the wall, man?
I could be on aboard with some of that Ric Flair activity he's got going on, but I can't support anything that actual behind the words. But when he's talking about other people, that's great.
Yeah,
He needs to be wearing a flashy robe when he does it.
I think so.
But, once he starts saying what he's going to do, that's where he loses me. I don't need to hear any of that nonsense. That sounds crazy. But what's he going to do? What's he going to do? What's Donald Trump? What's Bernie Sanders? What's Hillary Clinton? Oh, Hillary Clinton. That woman.
That old bag.
Man. And I feel so bad because she's just the worst. I don't feel bad. I don't care. I just don't like her. Period.
Have you guys ever heard the short little clip of Donald Trump explaining his foreign policy views to Oprah back in the 90s? Have you guys seen that?
I've never seen this before. That would be awesome.
You really, I've known to call out, as a lot of people do, and rightfully so, the flip-flops from Donald Trump on literally every issue under the sun. I'll be honest with you. I have been, and I won't say, and I dare to say this because I want to hear it from a couple individuals, including the wife. But Donald Trump, he's got some interesting perspective on NATO. So if he can keep that up, and I think that's one of the things that warfare state, biggest issue we face here the next few years, Donald Trump's going to be knocking some heads if he can keep up the pledge to get us out of NATO, or definitely do a dent in our role in the U.S. as far as the military police state.
All right. Join us on the second side of the hour for Anti-Media Radio. We will be back at 11 p.m. Eastern. I'm your host, S.M. Gibson. See you in just a few. Anti-Media Radio. And that is a wonderful band called Craft Spells from Seattle, where I used to live.
Great town.
Yeah, it is. A song called Nausea. From the album Nausea, you can check them out at www.craftspells.com. Support some indie music, some kind of anti-mainstream tunes. We're going to try to start doing this, maybe featuring a band every episode that doesn't normally get airplay places, and see if we can promote some indie music along with some independent thought radio, journalism, and media. We're back with Shannon and Kevin on the second side of the hour of Anti-Media Radio. I am your host, SM Gibson. For the first hour, we were talking about kind of covered the gamut of topics leading more towards tax, tomorrow being tax day, hooray, and all the people avoiding the system and how they get away with just basically doing what they want with no repercussions. And people are just kind of fine with that. No big deal. Keep on going with their lives. But, what are the actual consequences of these people's actions? I think we see the consequences of their actions unfortunately, not on the news like we should see it, because I think they keep you from the images of the drones bombing places.
You mean corporate-controlled media?
That would be it.
The propaganda wing of the government? Oh,
no, I'm all about sitting down and watching me some Bernie Sanders talk and some Donald Trump talk and have a good laugh at, the Larry David
I like
sketch.
when Larry David does Bernie Sanders better.
I don't know.
Can't Larry David run as Bernie Sanders running for president? That would be awesome.
Is he not?
He should be.
I think he is. I'm going to go ahead and bring on a caller now. Area code 336. Welcome to Anti-Media Radio. This is your host, SM Gibson. Tell us your name and where you're calling from tonight.
Hello.
Oh, yes. My name is Renee Arias. I thought I was just trying to listen to this radio and hear what y'all was talking about.
Oh, fantastic, man. I appreciate it. You can actually listen to us, stream us online at www.ucy.tv/TAMR. And you can also catch our replays on YouTube by searching for Anti-Media Radio. I guess, I've got to do that every episode, give the plug of where,
You have to, yeah.
Promote what you're doing.
Got to rep the fine folks at UCY.
I'm bad at that.
UCY's got a awesome lineup of programming. You need to check them out.
Yeah, I'm so bad at that. I should do it more.
Yeah, you do.
I really should.
They do. They're doing us a big favor.
That's it. Go to ucy.tv and check out all the programs and make sure to listen to Nick on Monday and Wednesdays at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, just like we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Don't
and
forget
Levon's
on
Friday.
Yep.
Okay, I think I covered everything. I'm sure I missed somebody, but
well, and Claire's on with Nick,
and
Miss
Jake,
Claire Burness, yeah,
and
Jake.
DV.
It's awesome.
They got all kinds of people
Yeah,
over
they
there.
do.
They got old click.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
It's awesome. That's awesome.
Well,
Come on, man.
You're the positive one.
Let's rep them, man.
That's the difference in me and you.
You better rep your boss. Come on.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, that what we were talking about, how it leads us into the politicians and how they, they get away with doing what they want. The repercussions of, the actions of evading taxes and do whatever they want. And that whole situation, having these tax havens in London, which is a story I wanted to get to in the first hour. We didn't quite get to it, but we'll bring it up here in a little bit, I'm sure. And then we've seen with the Panama Papers, of course, and then we talked about what's going on in the U.S. as well. The repercussions of that, we see overseas with the bombing. We don't see that, unfortunately, on mainstream media. This is the push and pull of global politics. There's blood to be shed when they're cutting these deals. That's the way it works when you're going for resources. I mean, is there any reason that you feel that you need to know what's going on in your neighbor down the street, 3 blocks over? Do you need to know what's going on in his house to keep you safe? Because that's what the U.S. government says. Yeah. They need to know what's going on in every country in the world to keep you safe. That's why they have military bases in over 100 countries in the world. Because
not just military intelligence, they actually have troops on the ground.
Military bases, yes, in country.
To protect so-called U.S.
That's correct.
interests.
Yes, keeping America great.
But look, I don't need to know. I don't have to, have whole shop set up in all my neighbors' houses in the whole neighborhood to keep myself safe. But the U.S. government tells you that's what you should do. Mm-hmm. And they're okay with getting in your house, too. Don't worry about that. They'll know what you're doing. They'll know what you're up to. And they're going to know what everybody else in the world's up to as well. Because, they're almighty. And, of course, we have to pay our allegiance, and not just allegiance, our actual hard-earned money tomorrow, whether we like it or not.
Well, it's actually on the 18th, but same difference.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They pushed it back a couple of days.
I'll say, well, it also falls.
It's an IRS leap year, I guess. Yeah.
No, it's supposed to fall on it normally falls on a Saturday.
Yeah. And
there's a deal, like a 3-day deal, where if it falls on the weekend. But in this instance, it's a holiday. So they're treating it as a weekend. So
what holiday is it?
Federal holiday. Who knows?
There's a holiday? Really?
They're recognizing some shit about their taking off.
What's a holiday?
Apparently there's a holiday this weekend. I knew nothing about it.
I probably should not have said a holiday. It's a federally recognized day for them to take off or some.
Well, that's a holiday, isn't it?
I don't want it to be confused like Christmas or
Boxing
Day.
Yeah. Spaghetti.
Those are real, man. Boxing Day is a real thing.
I think you just made all that up, Kevin. You had to.
Man, you're so.
I don't see a holiday. There's no holiday on my calendar. It just says 15.
I just tried to further explain that holiday was probably not.
Are you Trump waffling over here? Is that what you're doing?
No,
you just changed your stance, your point of view in mid sentence.
Let me find this for you here.
It's Emancipation Day.
Bingo. Yeah, that's right. We're celebrating the Emancipation Proclamation given by Lincoln. I did actually read that. So
it is also more.
There's a holiday around that.
Look, a booyah.
We're gonna get to some real news now.
Thank you.
So, no. This is about to get way. This is about to just destroy the show. So,
yeah.
I'm going to get to some real news and tell you what tomorrow is. Not only is it Emancipation Day, it is also Income Tax Payday, Jackie Robinson Day.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
McDonald's Day.
Shut up.
There's a McDonald's Day, and it's
free
tomorrow.
Apple pies or what? Because I'd eat one of those, but that's about it.
I don't even know if any of this is real. National Glazed Spiral Ham Day.
Okay.
Hey, this is all right. National Gripers Day.
I like that one.
So, yeah. National That Sucks Day.
I guess that would be like the Easter to
I
Christmas
can't do
for
this
Festivus.
anymore.
Yeah.
But, yeah, those
Jackie
are some
Robinson.
of the things.
I'm going to celebrate Jackie
shares
Robinson
what
Day
tax
tomorrow.
day is. There's others. There's Google if you need to know the rest.
So, happy Jackie Robinson Day to everybody in the room.
Not yet. You're early.
Oh, sorry. Just got excited.
Still got 50 minutes to go on the East Coast.
I'm giddy.
For McDonald's Day. National Glazed Pearl Ham Day. All right.
McDonald's. Is there a Burger King Day? I wonder.
Oh, I don't know. We're here.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Okay. I want to get back to what we were talking about. Really what I was talking about at the beginning of the show and how I kind of started the show off was with this thought of Kevin or Shannon, you're open to the question here. What has happened in your life in the past, ever that you needed to bomb somebody?
Well, I've been divorced twice. Does that count?
Maybe. Possibly.
I can't say that's ever happened in my own personally. I will say that one of my neighbors really pissed me off when I was younger, so we did put fireworks in our mailbox that we twisted the wicks together, but I don't think that's exactly the answer you're going for.
Now, if you did that today in modern day 2016, you'd get shot over that.
I'll probably be locked up.
Yeah.
So,
Terrorists.
anyways, you haven't needed to go bomb anybody, and yet the United States is doing it. I'm telling you, the Iraq thing, that's coming. That's about to happen. That's about to be a thing. The Iraq war is going to be full-blown again. Just as big and bad as it was. It's going to happen. Watch. All the signs are there. They're just telling you. That war's coming back. As soon as that guy's out of office, that's back. That war's back.
Yeah.
Mao Zedong...
They're getting ready for Obama to leave office.
Well, Mao picked up a tactic and used a tactic that a lot of various guerrilla wars have been fought, and they understood that the longer and longer that a conflict goes, that the population at some point will eventually turn around and go after and see it. And regardless of what it started out as, it'll turn into a occupier versus occupied battle. So you've got, ages of kids that have grown up that have and the same is on our side as well, on the American side. You've got ages of generations of kids who have grown up that don't know what happened, that don't know anything about what's going on, but they know that they wake up and they every day got a foreign country in their land. And I don't think there's any American here, hopefully not. I know a lot of people listening will probably say likewise that tomorrow, if blue helmets come marching across the border, that those are going to make nice targets for particular individuals. Anybody is going to be looking at an occupying force with questioning what exactly they're doing. And so, that's what we've got. We see now in a new poll that 90% of Iraqi youth view now the American government or the American occupation as the enemy. And who could probably argue at this point? I mean,
who can blame them?
Right. Well, I mean, Saddam's
Americans
gone.
hate to think that. They hate
right.
to think, how we're not. Just look at it through the eyes. Just like you said, think of it the other way around. If that was China or Russia, would you have resentment?
Oh, of course. Obviously, yeah.
You would hate them. You would. It's human nature. It's human nature. You would view them as, and that shouldn't defend. Look, there should not be violence on either side at all. Period. Zero. But you can at least understand the frustration, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, and Joe Biden said they're probably, possibly, likely for another 100 years.
Of course.
Well, there is a story up right now on the antimedia.org that a poll, this actually came out from the U.S. State Department, a poll that was conducted from all Iraqis, or a sampling of the whole entire country of Iraq, that 40% of all Iraqis believe that the United States is trying to destabilize Iraq and control its natural resources. And 33% of pollsters from Iraq also believe that the U.S. supports terrorism in general, or ISIS specifically.
The U.S. support, that's what they believe in Iraq, that the U.S. support ISIS.
Yes. Well, it wasn't too long ago with one of the ambassadors in Iraq actually said and reported on the fact that U.S. weapon supplies were being airdropped to ISIS that were supposedly intended for being airdropped to ISIS. Now, I personally, that's not. I know this probably comes across as demonizing the military, but I think it goes that it's really the leadership and specific leadership and entities within the military that are calling these shots. Just like we saw the scandal that is erupting about people editing the reports, the intelligence field reports that are being painted, being written in the field, or by the time they make it to the White House, they're actually being interrupted and before it makes it to the people's ears, it's being dressed up and painted all up and changed. And, so it's no surprise that it's, what is going on out there, we couldn't possibly know. But even, like I said, Iraq's own government, people that we're backing over there, are recognizing that we've got serious logistical issues and issues with who exactly are we funding, who are we not funding. And it's not just Syria. It's, unfortunately, a lot of the Middle East.
I think destabilization is the thing.
It always has been.
I think the more chaos they have, the more opportunity they have to get in there and take advantage of the chaos and, get what they need.
Well, if we go back to...
think about how rigid Saddam Hussein was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was very structured. None of this terrorism business was happening. None of it. For as bad as he was, none of this was flying under him.
Same thing for Gaddafi, and a lot of same situations. We're seeing the same. It's almost you can count on it. I mean, we always know this. When you take a power out like this, there's going to be a vacuum, and there's going to be other groups fund it, that fill that vacuum. If we look into what General Wesley Clark said, I'm sure you guys have heard that the 7 countries in 5 years. This is 4-star General Wesley Clark talking about taking down countries. The timetable was a little bit off, but if I'm not mistaken, Iraq was one of those countries. So if we take his word for it, this has been a long-time goal of various entities within the military to see Iraq destabilized.
About all the problems they've had with the parliament recently in Iraq. They've had fist fights break out, and they've had sit-ins go down. And I think, I want to say that they throw out the speaker?
Didn't catch that.
I'm going to look that up, but I know that I think that actually happened just a few hours ago. Let me look that up. But yeah, we've definitely got the story right now on the front page of amsamiya.org about how they may actually dissolve the parliament. I mean, it's just chaos over there. Complete chaos.
And we're in the middle of it.
And we're on the hook for it, really.
Of course. And we're the ones that want to be over there. We're the ones that profit from being over there.
We weren't invited, I might add.
We were not invited by anyone.
Yeah. Terror.
But it was a damn good opportunity to go in, though, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, it was right there. We were already going to Afghanistan. Saddam's there. He's got weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, the lie is so obvious.
He's always had massive destruction weapons, and yet let's go in now since we're already there.
Since you're already amped up.
Right. And look at the fallout.
Yeah, since you've already got some emotions going, and you'll go in the war with somebody. So we're just going to go into war with these people. Don't worry about it.
It's a project for a new American century, baby.
I don't understand why they didn't bury Saddam Hussein at sea like they did Osama bin Laden.
Well,
we'll never know.
That's a gruesome video. Boy,
yeah, that went down. The way that went down.
Any conspiracy theories about how he died? He went down.
I need to try to get. I've got a friend of mine who knows a guy that was a guard of Saddam Hussein's in Iraq. I need to see if I can get that guy on air.
That would be awesome.
That would be a great conversation.
Wow. That would be something there.
Yeah, I need to see if I can make that happen.
Did he use your power and wield?
He lives in Tennessee. He lives in Tennessee.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Guy. The guard.
And we won't take in Syrian refugees.
Said he was arrogant. Said he was nice. He was a really nice guy. He said he was really arrogant and delusional.
Of course.
But he said he was really nice.
Sounds kind of like somebody that is running for president right now, except for the nice part.
Like he said, super. Like he said, he didn't realize what was happening. Like he just expected. Like he said, they would talk, and he's like they would have conversation because he was one of the few people around him.
Yeah,
and
they were probably even allowed close to him.
Yeah, and he said that Saddam would have these conversations about hell, when I get back in power, like it never hit him. Like he was never.
It may not have, but even during the trial, he was demanding that the whole, calling the whole thing a sham. That he was still the rightful president.
He was there when they went to get him. They took him across the street when it was what they handed him over to Iraq because he was in U.S. control, and he said he was just whatever. He's like, when I get back in power, and when they went to move him, and he had this whole huge procedure they had to go through to move him just across the street because of who he was and people trying to kill him. But when they told him, they said the look on his face was like, all that I'm going to get back in power business, that all went away.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, this is real. This is about to happen.
Yeah.
This isn't good.
Yeah.
I think it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they said up until then, he was just delusional.
I just think it was disrespectful. They didn't bury him at sea. But whatever.
Oh, yeah, because we showed so much respect to
Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
Horrible, horrible individual.
Yeah, yeah.
What
is that about? Why did we supposedly
dignity and respect? That's what
so they
America
explain
is
that?
all about.
They didn't
dignity
want.
and
They
respect.
didn't want to actually. Well, I've read. They didn't want to have a place become a monument to his death. So it was easier to bury him. People are going to go and make into a shrine.
Let me ask. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Right.
It sounds better, does it not?
No, that's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life.
What? No. Think about this. If a
retarded.
dictator is buried somewhere, you know that people are going to flock to that area, right, to pay their respects. And imagine he's a jihadist warlord. Of course, people are
Do
going to.
people flock to where he's buried at now? I don't know.
He's supposed to be in the ocean, so that'd be a little difficult.
Is he?
If he was,
Who said he's in the ocean? The U.S. government.
Did you
probably
see
not
Zero
there
Dark
now.
30?
What?
That really happened.
well, that's
Come
what
on
I.
now.
Well, that's why I claim they don't have any. There's nowhere like if they were going to go look for his body.
You're a grown man.
Yeah.
That's that's the argument. What I'm saying is, you said what was the story? I'm giving you, hey, this is the story. I mean, and it makes
The
sense.
narrative.
The narrative works because now where are people going to, if they want to go find his body, at what starting point do they start with?
Oh no, the narrative's great.
Okay, well that was where I was coming from.
I don't know. Did you see Zero Dark 30? It's not really that
Again,
great.
we had this.
When you see the narrative actually on screen and actually see it played out, it's like that. Nah, that didn't happen. Come on.
We had this
really.
conversation in the first hour. No, I did not. See,
It's a horrible,
that
wretched piece
movie.
of turd. Oh my!
I'm sorry. Look, I don't know what happened. I don't know. But no,
It wasn't that.
No, it wasn't that. I can certainly tell you that
Oh,
one.
man.
Oh, there's a video of the back of some guy's head
Yeah.
watching cable television
Durka.
in a building. You're telling me that guy drove 2 miles to use a cell phone while he's watching cable TV? I'm sorry, I do not believe you. And why do you just show me the back of his head? Why can't I see his face?
Yeah.
And who films themselves watching television? What's going on here? None of that happened. None of it. Not like they said.
Just remember, America, when you go swimming
Sorry.
in the ocean,
Well, how often has
you
any
are standing
official
at
story
Osama
been
bin Laden's grave.
anything like an actual?
But they
event?
went out of their way and like filmed things.
Yeah.
They did it up.
Well, didn't we have somebody?
They made clips.
Didn't we have some people actually coming under fire in the administration for giving
Footage.
a little bit of information? 2 people, wasn't it? Who was not Petraeus, George Tenet, I believe. Had I want to say George Tenet had his name called, but somebody else had come under for a little bit of fire for giving away some of that information for the movie. But sorry, fellas, it didn't seem to help out the ratings too much. Or at least
Did
the
any of that
credibility.
information explain why Osama bin Laden supposedly just started filming himself watching cable TV, watching the news? Did they explain that?
Gets off on himself, watching himself watch the news.
Did they explain why his videos that came out after 2002 look nothing at all like the person from before 2000, prior to 2002?
Yeah.
Not.
I doubt they did. I doubt they.
They don't look like the same person.
I doubt they explained that. You're right. We know it's this.
Sorry, it doesn't. Is that look? I don't know. Maybe they did something. I don't know what they did. Can't tell you.
But it's not that story.
That's not what they say.
It's not that story.
I don't know what happened.
What?
I have no clue.
We know it goes back to,
But I don't believe what they're telling me.
it goes back to we mentioned earlier and mentioned last week about the reports about the field action being changed, about what actually is going on in the reports and what we are being told. We actually are recognized. We got main larger media entities that are covering this, so it's no surprise that we wouldn't get the official skinny on literally almost every major incident that the U.S. military is involved in, or government, is involved in.
Oh, yeah, really? We get the reality.
Reason to go to war.
What we get on media right now is we're getting a reality TV show. We're getting a 24-hour reality TV show, and prime time is tonight. This is the prime time television. They're competing against, what is it, Big Brother, Survivor. There's probably new shows. I never even watched those. Whatever reality show's big. I don't know. The Bachelor. It doesn't matter. That's what these people are competing against, though.
Can you believe that Zero Dark 30 was nominated for Best Motion Picture of the Year in 2013?
It was not.
Can you believe it? Yeah, that really happened.
It was a big,
It
was expensive.
Sorry year for movies.
The girl, even the girl,
Look,
the
dude, that
lead
was expensive.
character.
They how expensive was that thing that crashed at that building? That was expensive.
That was. Trillions of dollars were lost.
Yeah. On there, whatever happened. Well, I don't know what they did. They killed somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, we've been had.
I don't know what they did, but I know what they didn't do.
Some gave all.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. There's so many different stories. You never know. And that's the role of the propaganda. Half of these conspiracy theories that come out are put out by the United States government. Do not forget that. Like, they want people to be misled. That's how the propaganda works. They put out a story here. There's a story there. There's another story. Now there's 4 stories. They all kind of make sense. And who knows what the truth is? Guess it ain't. You're not meant to know. You're not meant to know what the truth is.
I think Michael Bay needs to be the new director of Homeland Security, whoever the president is.
And the least plausible version is usually the official story, though. Like, the official story is pretty good. Like,
I mean, have you ever
crazy that the stories are? Like box cutters.
Yes.
Like, really? You're telling me?
Military trained
Like,
airline pilots.
You're telling me that
somebody comes at me with, look, I got a big old cut on my hand
And
right now. Somebody comes at me with a box cutter talking about they're going to kill
planes
me.
at
I'm
once.
like, you better go ahead and try, man.
And all these dudes had were box cutters?
Yeah.
Really, that happened?
You're going to get a slice, and
And
that's
you're
about all you're going to
also-
get. You're going to get one. That's all you get.
And you're also trying to convince me that people were so brave. They were like, we're just going to reel this plane into the ground without trying to go, hey, maybe we should try to land it or something. Nope. I'm sure that's explained in the movie, but whatever.
Why didn't the military trained airline pilot just say, let's roll, and just go ahead and dive into the ground right there? Man, none of this makes sense.
I know. It doesn't. Not in the real world, it doesn't. In fairy tale land, let's roll, let's get it done. But that's unfortunately the stories that we're given. We're just fed different propaganda, and I think we're fed it in all directions, and that's what my goal is in pursuit of what the truth is, and then I want to be allowed to make decisions based on what the actual truth is, and I don't think any of us know. What the truth is now. How can we say this is what we want or that's what we want? Ultimately, unless, if you're, I don't know, there's people, and I'm friends with them, agorists, and they're already ready to go. They've got their whole system set up. I'm not there yet. Maybe I will be. Maybe I won't be, knowing me. But there's people, they got it going on. doing way better than me, a lot smarter than me. But right now, I just want answers. I want the truth. I want to stop being lied to. I know I want my tax dollars to stop being used to fund wars and killing people. I know I don't want that. After that one, then we can start having discussions about other stuff because, we're spending ourselves into a hole which we're already completely in. We're broke right now. But I think by stopping the wars, you're automatically cutting down so much money. That's at least some of that. Again, so once we stop that, then we can go from there.
Amen.
So the truth and stop bombing people.
Yeah, I really would love to live the rest of my life and not see people just endlessly and needlessly murder one another. And us just roll on in for whatever corporate interest that's going to come in afterwards and pick the bones clean, as it were. And we've seen that happen so many times bringing up Iraq. I mean, we've seen it happen in Iraq time and time again over the past several decades. And they build it up and we tear it back down and try to glean whatever we can from it. And the Halliburtons and the oil companies and all of the other corporate interests swoop on in.
I mean, we're not going to see it anytime soon, I'm afraid.
The Genie Corporation, which we brought up numerous times,
yes,
has been poised to set up in, I believe, what was it, Yemen or Syria? I think
Golan Heights.
Yeah.
Syria, between Syria and Israel.
So, yeah.
Set up some oil, get some oil going. They already got the rights on that. And it's Dick Cheney,
Gary Richardson,
Bill Richardson.
Child, that
Bill
guy.
Richardson.
Bill Richardson, I'm sorry.
And Cheney and
Big Dick.
Who was the other one? There was somebody else. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
lot of crazy.
There was a Rothschild on it. That was the funniest
Lord
thing.
Jacob, yeah.
Like, that was actually funny. Like, it's like, oh my God, it's like a Rothschild.
It really was. It
like,
was
this is that level. It's like
you remember Super Friends?
The Rothschilds.
Remember the Super Friends cartoon, and it had Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, and then you
Yeah.
had the League of Doom, and had Lex Luthor and all of the supervillains from the DC universe. Yeah, it really the board. It really the list of people reads like the modern day 2016 version of the Legion of Doom. I mean, it really does. Dick Cheney, Lord Jacob Rothschild.
they're pretty good supervillains.
Oh yeah, really good. The best of the best. I said freaking Rothschild. Come on, man. And Dick Cheney, you know what that's all about.
They are good supervillains. But man, there ain't none of them better than Donald Trump.
Oh man.
That guy's pure ultimate warrior. Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold.
Well, no, I mean when we pitting,
That guy's some
you can't
walking
look.
theater.
You can't pit.
He is a lunatic.
Rothschild and
he's
Donald
walking
Trump.
theater.
That's two completely, even though they're in the same realm, but that's still two completely different levels altogether.
Oh, sure. On all spectrums.
Oh yeah.
On all sides
As far
of
as
the coin
true,
on that.
genuine power. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well. Yeah. Not going to go down that rabbit hole. So, yeah, back to the situation we were talking about overseas, which led us down that path.
Yeah, the dirty rabbit hole that was.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, man, there's going... Cabin, what are your thoughts on my rantings about... It's going to be a war in Iraq. I'm telling you. Like, first off, let me go ahead and say, we never left Iraq. We changed the name of
And we're
to
in camp all
advisors.
around Iraq right now,
we became
so.
advisors and yada, yada, yada. Look, never left. But, like, we're going to be, like, out in the open. We're in war. Period.
Well, I completely agree. I mean, it's shouldn't be hard to acknowledge that. We've got Iran's doing a lot of stuff. They're coming down and getting involved in in Iraq, too. And as we mentioned before, the Biden had said that the U.S. was probably going to have to be in Iraq for another 95 years. Anytime you have an occupying force, the longer and longer it stays
there. As soon as Obama's
there.
out. As soon as he's out.
You think so? It's going to light up?
Yep.
But who would be I mean, right now, who do we see as the most strongest influence right now? We see ISIS, right, which is basically Saddam's old Ba'athist regime.
Right.
Do you really think Obama? You think that you really if Trump wins, for example, do you feel like that ISIS will feel like, hey, this is our time to go? I mean, because I would think that Obama, if anything, this administration has been pretty loose, or at least from my understanding and a lot of our understanding, they're actually, at least in Syria, they're not actually going after ISIS, but they're going
it's going to be so bad. Let me tell you something. This guy that we've complained about for 8 years, he's bombed 8 countries. Like
that we talk about.
Barack Obama.
That we acknowledge.
Yeah, that we know of and acknowledge. That's correct. We talked about it. This guy, he won a Nobel Peace Prize. Like all
He
of
was
this.
the Secretary of State.
Let me
during
tell
that
you
period of
something.
time.
Wait a second. I'm afraid whoever the next president is, we're going to look back and go, oh, maybe Barack Obama did deserve that Nobel Peace Prize. I'm afraid that's how bad it's going to get.
Well, in hindsight, that's what we always see.
Because who's not going to do that? Let's go ahead and get real. Bernie Sanders is not going to be your president. Hillary Clinton, if that's...
That was the Secretary of State I was referring to.
If that's feasible... Then
our buddy,
she's gonna be in war on day one. If you got Ted Cruz, which is not feasible, he ain't gonna be president. I'm not even gonna go over there. If you got Trump, I don't know what Trump would do. I have no idea. That's the thing about Trump.
Trump's gonna do whatever they tell him to do.
I don't know. You think?
Yep.
You think so?
Yeah.
You really believe that?
I'm sure when they get in the private room and they have the private conversation,
I can understand
the briefing
that
conversation.
I can understand that, but
they'll let him know exactly how it's all going to go down.
I understand.
Remember all that hope and change we were talking about 8 years ago?
Yeah. But that's
what happened to that.
Yeah, this ain't.
I got killed in like 10 minutes.
No, this is different, and you know it's different. This is not some kid they groomed from Chicago that nobody had ever heard of until 3 years prior, 4 years prior.
This is a megalomaniac.
And nobody had really ever heard.
This is a narcissistic megalomaniac
people that
that's going to go in with one hat.
They're
going to go in with that one attitude, and he's going to get turned right around real quick. Well, I mean, and if he doesn't turn around, then we know the next step. We know what happens when folks get uppity, sitting in the big chair.
I don't know what he's going to do. If he plays ball, then he may save himself. I'm telling you, though, they hit Reagan. Don't think they didn't. I believe it. And
don't get in any parades in Dallas, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
Get you a Pope mobile.
Yeah. They were talking about, I don't know if it was on, I don't know which channel it was on, but they were talking about who Trump should pick for his vice president. And they just kept showing, seriously, pictures of Johnson and George Herbert Walker Bush. I promise you, being like these two guys picked establishment guys at their their conventions at their broker deal. When they went head to head, and they picked them, and that's who they got. And he's like, "You're showing Johnson." And what happened to his president? Something bad, I think. I'm afraid. And then the one everybody forgets is Reagan getting shot. And the thing everybody really forgets is that his vice president had been the head of the CIA within the past, 5-6 years?
Yeah.
He wasn't director that terribly long, but he hadn't been.
He was there long enough to shake up the.
But he was down from his post. He hadn't been gone that long when he became vice president. So look, and what happened to both those guys? And you're going to show Bush when you're talking about Trump picking his vice president. So I think the writing's on the wall for something to happen. I think he'd be a full.
The VP pick.
I'll be
on the
surprised
GOP
if it doesn't.
is
I'll say
going to
that,
be,
and I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
for everybody involved. The chaos that would ensue, oh my gosh, it'd be terrible. It'd be horrible. And I don't like that man, but I don't wish ill on him like that either.
Jeff Sessions, anyone?
Yeah, I think I could see that.
Yeah.
I've said that's what I've been saying I've been saying 60.
That's a company man right there.
The people of Alabama.
My original thing I said was it's going to be 60%
Hey, don't be
Sessions,
bringing me into this, all right?
30 10 to Christie, but Christie's gone. He ain't going to be it. He's over.
Well,
man.
he's actually, I'll be honest with you, Sessions, he lost a lot of fans, a lot of support from a lot of people when he came out and supported Donald Trump in his immigration stuff. Well, within just a few short days, Trump was pointing out, when he asked about specifics, to go to his webpage and read his documentation. Well, he flip-flopped on a lot of what he said,
No.
which turned around and put Jeff Sessions in the awkward position of just 3 or 4 days before that endorsing him, now being forced, how quickly did he just stomp on his reputation? And, it took 4 days for people to say, dude, you have lost it.
Trump can literally ruin somebody's reputation by a single tweet. It's just okay, wait, you endorsed me and you've made your career.
Daddy.
Like Jeff Sessions, he was big on the border. They talk about Jeff Sessions and the border. And Ted Cruz was throwing his name around right and left for a long time.
Of course. Well, he's a big player in the Senate too.
Yeah. And so anyways, you get somebody like that's his whole career, and he makes this huge stance, and then Trump can just, I've changed my mind.
Just like that.
Yep. Different now.
Well, I agreed with him.
Thanks for your endorsement.
Well, I'll be honest with you, and I think usually his the changes, his flip to flop, usually his corrected position, I tend to agree with more than,
I don't know. I don't pay attention. It doesn't matter what it really doesn't. Because what position, what are you going to hear him say and go, yeah, that's the one I believe?
The only one I do believe is NATO and the warfare. And I was just telling a friend of mine.
Why do you believe that one?
Because I think we don't believe anything. I think most of us talked about, we don't really believe anything that Donald Trump is saying.
Correct.
When he's on stage.
I believe him about the wall.
Okay.
He's stuck his neck too far out.
He's had to now, right? But do you think he actually believes in the wall? If this was not a talking point, that he's now cannot probably walk back?
Oh no, he's too far gone.
Yeah. He can't walk it back now. But do you think that this is literally, if it had not gotten to this point, do you think he would have flipped off on it?
Yes.
Flip flop. See, I do too.
I don't think he really set out with the intention. Maybe he did, but for business purposes of getting a contract on that wall, maybe he had that plan. I don't know. Maybe he has other plans. I don't know. I don't personally believe he ever had any intentions of building that wall, but it's so far gone now. He has.
Oh, I know he's got to, right? Well, see, I don't either. But the only thing that I think he's consistent on, and he has been consistent on, in his NATO position. When he spoke to Oprah on Oprah's show, he was. I would encourage anybody to actually go listen to it, because he spoke very cleanly.
And what year was this from?
This was in the early 1990s. So this has been a good 20 years. And he did vote against the war in Iraq. Now, I'm not saying, for one, that he's not.
He didn't vote against the war in Iraq.
I don't know. Forgive me for saying that. I'm sure he paid somebody who surely did vote.
I'm sure he paid people that voted on many ways.
On both sides of it, right. So, but yeah, so he has been anti-war. And the one thing we can say about everybody up there is that they have all supported many more wars Trump has. And I think he's less like. That's the one thing I tend to agree a little bit on. And if he is determined that's one easy way.
I'll say, okay, but what, and I'm sure he, in some aspects, probably does, but in what involvement has Trump had from his position to influence war the way the other people on stage? John Kasich, not so much. So you can't really include him.
But if he does get to be president, then we're looking at a whole different situation.
Well, you can't even count Ted Cruz, because he's only been around. He hasn't been around, but what?
Well, he's been in the Senate, and he did a lot of work in
6 years.
Yeah, he was working for mostly for the state of Texas.
Yeah. So you can't really, other than Hillary,
No, but they've all advocated their public positions.
yeah.
You know, they've all been on board at some point, mostly with funding jihadists and
and you're right. You're right about that.
and supporting the wars in general and demanding that
You're-
we've got
you're right.
more wars. And I think that's one thing Donald Trump has been consistently against. And I want to grow the government. Conservatives, I'm speaking to you guys. The easiest, quickest, most surefire way to grow the government and to erode civil liberties here at home and abroad is through war. And so I think that, and financially as well, I think that's where it trickles all down from. And so I think that Donald Trump is probably the least likely to get us into a position that Hillary or any other Republican candidate would get us in.
You just said Hillary or any other Republican candidate.
That's about right. Yeah. I don't see anything
Freudian
wrong with that.
slip.
Yeah. But yeah, we know how this game's gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm afraid. I'm telling you. I don't know how many times I can say it. We're gonna see some more.
Well, you know, and to bring this one point up as well, he mentioned. I don't know if you've heard. You know, he's concentrated a lot on China. That's one thing that he's you know. He's asked about the Middle East, but then he pivots to China, and Richard Haas is a big president of the Council of Foreign Relations, of course. That's who Trump claims is his go-to guy for foreign policy advice. The CFR is kind of aiming now towards the Pacific area as far as where they think that conflict could be arising, you know, with China, especially in those disputed waters. So that, you know, I think we're probably going to see more. The U.S. can only concentrate on so many fronts at one time, especially in the financial situation that the U.S. is in now. So I think we're probably going to see there's going to be some war, but I think the U.S. is going to have to take a less and less active role in it.
I don't know how they've propped it up for so long.
I know. It's. I think a lot of people are saying the same thing. How many people do you know that are respectable people in be it the liberty movement, the freedom movement, the sovereign movement, who've all been saying that, hey, that it all should have collapsed years ago? Even respectable names, even Ron Paul, you know, he would have. I don't think he never really gave me dates, but he was pretty sure that this whole system would have probably collapsed. Now, and it's amazing they've been able to hold it up. You're right.
We'll see where it goes. You know, I don't see any real anything on the horizon that's going to change any of this, unfortunately. You know,
not even Trump's crazy ass. I mean, really. I don't see anything
I don't
changing.
know. I mean, I think there's a percentage, small percentage, that Trump could do the right stuff because that may be the direction he blows.
He blows all right.
Because, you know, he does say the good stuff about foreign. He says good stuff about, you know, the Federal Reserve, all this stuff. You know,
there's no candy in that van. How many times I got to tell you that?
No, of course. None of that's ever going to happen. The foreign policy he's a little more convincing on. But what I'm saying is there's a possibility.
What is
ever going to? I agree. But there's a percentage I think it could because he doesn't have a record to go on. You can't see at any point in his life what he's done to influence any of these things.
And the crazy stuff that comes out of that man's mouth, is it worth the gamble?
He's hosted television shows and he's done real estate deals amongst a bunch of other stuff.
That makes him eligible for president. How again?
Right. He's promoted himself. Well, he is the best person to be president. You're going to be honest because the president is a PR position.
Right,
and Donald
exactly.
Trump is the greatest PR man on the planet. So if you want to look at it from that perspective, then he should be president.
But what policy
he shouldn't be president because he's a lunatic.
What policy is he actually going to bring to the table, though, that the current establishment that's set in place, House of Representatives and our senators, that are going to, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. Why not?
Well, they did that for Obama, basically. And it really didn't matter if they did.
Bought and paid for by corporate America. He is corporate America. But Congress is. Come on now.
Hey, but don't think for a second.
Do you believe the Republican Party is going to go along with Donald Trump when they get in there?
They're fighting it now. Come on.
But think about a bill going through. Like, think about that. You think they're going to go with what that man wants? They don't care. They could care less what those bills are about. It's just my pride. I'm not going.
Well, I would be surprised. Who's going to be in charge
Because
of
it's about keeping the division going.
Can you imagine the squabbles between Trump and whoever would be the Speaker of the House trying to get various bills passed that Trump obviously disagrees with or in favor of, and the House will not do it? Can you imagine the calling out that we would see when Trump doesn't get his way from individuals?
That's disgusting.
Don't think for a second that that Trump wouldn't do just as Obama did and exercise what he sees as his presidential and executive authority in the interest of America. I think he would definitely. It does not matter anything, and I would say you're going to have conservatives that are going to agree with that. As long as I'm sure you guys saw the poll about people supporting a government coup. Did you see the poll about that? How many people in the United States would support a government coup, a military coup? It was kind of frightening. And the thing is people probably would if they were told it was for reasons they agree with. That's why I say it doesn't matter about what Congress so much. If you get Trump in office, and a lot of time, even Congress this past whole 8 years has gone and said, well, it was pretty much the will of the people that put him into office. So, hey, what have they done to stop anything that we've not liked? They've rubber stamped and let everything else go through. I mean, how much opposition did we see? Even from the so-called Republicans that like Shelby, who are working to fight against Obama every single day.
That's a great commercial.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, that's funny.
But what have we seen?
He means it.
And we gripe about what's going on about weapon systems and supplying weapons to Syria, but even the few GOP people have come out and said, yeah, I think it's a bad idea. What do we get? They still voted for it. I mean, the House is who's responsible for funding.
And will continue to do so.
Right. The House could easily stop a lot of this bullshit by refusing to fund it, which is where funding has to come from. But what happens?
Oh, no, they can't do that either, because then if you go through anything that you don't want to fund, and then you say we're going to shut down the government over and not sign it, then you get the other side of the aisle screaming, they're going to shut down the government.
They're trying to take your money away from you poor people.
Shut down the government. You're all going to die. The roads are the roads. Who will build the roads?
We even had Obama himself did that. We're going to have to shut down the national parks and have to shut down all this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be just the worst. You're all going to be dead.
That backfired on him, though. A lot of people, I think, called his bluff and were pissed. We saw videos of people tearing down guardrails that were around some of the various monuments and whatnot. People didn't really put up with that too well. We saw the same thing out of our state legislature, our state governor here, threatening to take away various. There's a big deal up there. The guy, one of our representatives, put a big sign up on the interstate himself on the legislature member and said basically he would not be bullied into voting for an additional tax increase.
Yeah, I don't want to bring up the current Alabama governor on the show right now. There's a story floating around about
sexy story.
Getting a wallet with a helicopter. He apparently got in a fight with his wife over his mistress.
Wait, what happened?
You haven't heard about this?
No.
It's on AL.com right now.
I tell you what.
There's more to the story.
Tell me in a second. I want to go to area code 978. Thank you for calling Anti-Media Radio. This is your host, SM Gibson. Tell us your name and where you're calling from tonight.
Fuck her right in the pussy.
All right.
Hell yeah. Dude, I'll be honest with you. I know it's bad.
I actually saw that.
That's a message I can get behind right there.
Hey, that was probably had something to do with Derek Bros and those people in Philadelphia. But that's okay. They're having the Free Your Mind conference, and I think that prank's going around. I saw a video earlier of.
He's referring to the old guy, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I've seen it before. That guy's awesome.
That dude has gotten around, is he not?
Yeah, it's not really about what he says. It's about just the look on his face. I mean, he's just it's like every great thing in his life has built up to that moment.
Oh yeah, he's hitting now.
I mean, really, go back and watch that video sometime.
It is, yeah.
It's a good. Give that guy one more view. I'm sure he's bought a house now. He's got Antoine Dodson money now. Remember the bed intruder?
Yeah,
he fucked up and got arrested. He got arrested in He was trying to hit on some people.
She's still living in Huntsville.
No. Yeah,
I was telling a happy story, then you come in and just knock it all down and talk about just bad. I'm all about some good times right now, man. It's time to start. You know, we've really just this whole show's been like a complete downer. We need to bring it back up, man.
I could lie to you and tell you everything's all great.
I don't know.
He's wanting some of that. He's wanting some of that candy that he preaches about.
I just don't want to talk about people getting arrested right now. I just want to think about the good times. Remember when we liked
Hootie and the Blowfish? Cracked Review was
Hootie
a
and
great
the Blowfish?
year.
That was a great album.
I still listen to it.
I only want to be with you. I know you do.
I do, man.
You would.
Is that a true
You
thing?
closet Republican.
Very much
Oh
so.
my goodness.
Started out blind too.
Darius Rucker is a country singer now.
He does a great job.
Yeah.
He makes a lot of
It's
money
got
from it too.
It's got like a fiddle and stuff in it, man. It's awesome. It's like real country. Hootie.
Country's anything else? They
Why hasn't he
put it
legally
up
changed
there.
his name to Hootie yet?
Because his name's Darius.
Because you know
Rucker.
everybody call.
Oh, they call him Darius Rucker.
Anyway,
All the people that were listening to TLC at that point. That time.
You know why? Because he sells a whole bunch of records. Because I lived in Nashville. Because I've lived in a bunch of places.
Darius Rucker with a cowboy hat is still.
And a cowboy
He's even
hat.
more Hootie than he used to be with a cowboy hat.
Yodel.
You never met a dude named Hootie with a cowboy hat on, and you call yourself an Alabamian.
That's a different Hootie, though. That's
Outcast.
I don't think
that
ever
should be on the side of Stone
We've only
Mountain.
got a couple minutes left. I'm talking about Darius Rucker. It's all right. I don't care.
Well, I was talking about Outcast. I was trying to keep it positive, and here you go with Arrest Records. I mean, come on now. Just liven this up.
Oh, my God.
You weren't paying attention. Me and Kevin were having a conversation.
I heard it.
28 pages.
Between A and B. Oh, man, that definitely needs to be coming out right now.
Hey, it should. Hey, we talked about the other night.
Yeah, the Obama's going to come. Yeah, right.
60 days. Well, he promised, actually. He was asked by one of the victims of the 9/11 attacks, one of the family members, when he first, not when he first got in office, but when he was the second. He was at the second term when he got voted in. He was asked by one of the victims' families, was he going to come forward with the papers? And I bet he probably would like to.
Yeah, but which 28 pages are we going to get? Are we going to get the actual, honest-to-God, real account of what went on?
Oh,
or
no.
are we going to get the Zero Dark 30
it's
version?
just
Come
the
on
28
now.
pages from the Judicial Committee review. And it's not actually from the 9/11 reports from the Judicial Committee review.
Yeah.
Same difference. But,
And it's been kept from us for this long, so why are we going to believe anything at first glance that's coming off the desk of the United States government? Come on now.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. We've had several senators have actually read this.
Yeah, they're saying that some officials met with some hijackers, some Saudi officials. That's part of it.
I'm ready. Where's it at?
We'll see.
Let's see it.
Well, after that 60 Minutes episode, Saudi Arabia actually responded, and they basically repeated the same thing they've always repeated, that their claim that the U.S. courts and world courts have already addressed this issue and found no involvement by Saudi Arabia, which is BS.
Oh, the whole thing.
They refuse to hear it. The case.
That's why the whole thing's BS, because the Saudi implications, like there's so much cover up there, so much cover up with Saudi, and they were palling around with them, still are, but it was real. They were thick as thieves there for a minute with the Bushes, and
I'm ready for the truth, man.
Oh, we're never
with
gonna
all
get the
this.
truth.
I don't think we'll ever get the truth.
We just get more elements of the official narrative, of the official.
So everybody remember, this weekend when you go to get your taxes in, this is what you pay for.
That's it. Well, I tell you what, join us next week at www.ucy.tv/JMR for Anti-Media Radio. I am SM Gibson. Shannon, Kevin, Anti-Media Radio out.
In the bed, baby.
I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo.